Welcome back to Sitting with Spirit, my loves. Remember, as always, to take the messages that serve you, release the rest, and really walk with what is in resonance with your heart space. So, I wanted to start Sitting with Spirit by piggybacking off of what we spoke a little bit about in the episode around giving our power away to other people in relationships. And I wanted to briefly touch on, and if you follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is at angels_and_amethyst. There's only one of me and I'm verified. If you follow me there, you'll have seen me talk about one of my new astrological theories. So, my mom was an astrologer. I was born and raised with astrology, and I've had a lifetime of observations. And so, one of my astrological theories that I've been developing and testing out on Instagram and seeing if you guys resonate, which overwhelmingly you do, so thank you, is that the house that our sun sign is the area of life that we can lose ourselves, where we can dim our light. And I wanted to talk about, for those of you today who have your sun in the seventh or the eighth house. So if you have your sun in the seventh house, this episode might be particularly relevant for you because you can lose yourself in prioritizing what other people perceive you as than how you perceive yourself, or how other people value you rather than how you value yourself. And it can be easy for you to lose your light in marriage, in relationship dynamics that might not be even or equal. It can be easy for you to lose yourself within your partnerships, but specifically want to touch on that idea of looking for validation externally rather than how you feel internally. And I know Claire touched on that a little bit in the episode as well. And then I also wanted to give a shout out to people with sun in the eighth house, because I have my sun in the eighth house and I've observed a lot of people with their sun in the eighth house. And sun in the eighth house people can lose themselves in not realizing how powerful they are. They can lose themselves in power struggles, power dynamics, other people who try to exercise their power on them. And we can also lose ourselves in staying in something that needs to die away, whether that's a relationship or a job or a living situation. The eighth house is death and release and shadow, and we can lose ourselves in just having such a hard time letting go. So I wanted to share that in case somebody out there has their sun in the seventh or eighth house and needed to hear that message. And the reason that I share these astrological theories and put these things out there is because in the witchy world, it's a well-known truth that to name something gives you power over it. And so when these things are subconsciously pulling the strings, it's so easy to believe them or integrate them as our story of self, when in reality, it's something that we actually have choice to keep co-creating with or not. So I'm recording this on the first day of October, right before the Libra solar eclipse. So this is most likely going to come out in November. So it's always interesting when I record the Sitting with Spirit so far in advance. But I felt some really heavy energy. I felt a time of endings and release and processing and shadows and grief. And I got this feeling from our angels, because I like to start with the angel message before I go into the mediumship. I got this feeling from our angels that it's time to come back to our lower chakras, that our upper chakras are almost at capacity. We can't take any more information, any more sensationalism, any more running down the hill. There's something about rooting. Like, I literally see an image of putting our feet in the dirt, like that level of just coming back to resetting our nervous system, to getting outside, to being in more silence, and really coming back down. Like, I feel this almost like warm buzzing in my feet. And I just get this feeling of that's where the aligned energy wants to go right now, is literally our feet. And so it's just get your feet on solid ground. Just worry about meeting your basic needs, taking care of you. The rest will come. But there's very much this energy right now of just simplify, take care of yourself, and do what you need to do to feel regulated, grounded, and for your basic needs to be met. And then everything else will come in perfect timing. but trying to reverse engineer it and try to control and strategize and think everything through, it's like that just feels exhausting. It feels like a lot of mental chatter, a lot of noise. I was shown my sign for mental health. And when I see that, it shows that it's a time period where it's more important than ever to watch your thoughts, to protect your peace, to really watch what your inner villain voice is saying, and to do what you need to do again without apology to take care of yourself. Where does there need to be more boundaries? Where does there need to be more self-care? So yeah, I keep feeling this headache energy, this fatigue energy, this grief and this loss and this focusing on what isn't working. And it feels very frenzied and difficult and anxious. And I feel like on a collective level as well, there might be a collective time period where we're navigating a lot of fear or sensationalism or heaviness or doubt. The message is, again, come back to the lower chakras, take care of yourself, simplify, get still and silent where you can to swing the pendulum back to balance. And when I was feeling that processing of deeper emotions, which if we're going through a time period of collective intensity, I believe this will be coming out in Scorpio season when it's already like death and endings and rebirth and transformation. Plutonian energy is already on the forefront of consciousness. It's really important to focus on what is in your control, focus on what is in your power, and to let yourself feel your feelings. It's okay to be disappointed or frustrated or scared or nervous. Feel those feelings, but don't continue to co-create with them from a mentally draining, exhausting, taxing place. Let yourself feel the feelings so that you can move forward. And so that's the message that I get to. It's like, stay here and now. Try your best not to run down the hill. Stay right here, right now. Keep coming back to this simplified energy and just really focus on what's working, what is in your power, what you do have, not focusing on what isn't working, what's nerve-wracking, what you wish there was more of. Just focus what's in your power here and now and take one foot in front of the other. I heard an interesting sentence, which was seeing in the dark. And then when I got that sentence, I saw a witch's hat, and then the witch's hat like flipped over and turned into a pathway. And I feel like there's something about the only way to see in the dark is to feel your way forward. It feels like the overthinking and the second guessing and the strategizing and the holding the reins of control, that's not how you see in the dark. That's how you think yourself in circles. Seeing in the dark is a fusion of feeling, emotions, and intuition. And so it feels like it's a moment with a lot of question marks and transitions and deep shedding and healing and death and rebirth. And so see in the dark by putting on your witch's hat of power and let yourself be radically honest. Let yourself feel your way through to see. It's funny because that's what I'm working on currently, is feeling to see, because my clairsentience is so strong that it's like, okay, I can actually feel, like our hands are our second eyes. I can feel my way through to understand my surroundings or to understand more about the spirit person coming through. So that's what I invite us all to do collectively. Feel your way through, because our heart is such a good GPS system. Part of seeing in the dark, as I touched on before, is the bravery to commit to radical honesty. We can only truly see intuitively to the degree that we're ready to sit with what we don't want. And sometimes that's what the truth is, and that's okay. Superstition, fear, running down the hill, attachment to outcomes, all of that is in the mind again, and that's not how we see in the dark. And right now, the skill set of seeing in the dark feels really important. Connection with your angels, connection with your lower chakras, connection to your emotions and feeling your feelings, connection to putting one foot in front of the other as you feel your way forward. And that witch's hat is a connection to the divine, is a connection to our power, is a connection to the witch archetype that lives within us, that is brave, that is connected to desire, that is connected to magic, and it exists within every single one of us. And that's part of our toolbox that we're leaning on to feel our way through the darkness. So I want to talk now about the spirit coming through. It was actually a baby girl in spirit. And I feel like she would have been under the age of 2 when she passed, but I do feel like she was birthed into the world and then she passed. And I feel, and I wasn't 100% sure about this, but I feel like she had a brother or someone who would have been like a brother. There was definitely like somebody that she either considered like a brother or felt like a brother. And I was also seeing something wrong with her breathing or her heart. And I got this flash of an image of her in the hospital with all of these wires and these tubes, and like she needed a machine to stay alive. And she gave me this feeling of her mom rocking her back and forth. And then I was also feeling something wrong with my left leg or foot. Like something about my left leg or foot was really lighting up. And then I was seeing the number 2 as being very significant. And with this, and I do feel like with this spirit baby, there's something intentionally vague about the evidence, because I feel like this is for a lot of the spirit stuff is for more than just one of you guys, but this one especially feels like it's going to connect with a couple of you. I was also getting the message of an L name, whether that was the baby's name or the person it's for. There's some connection with an L name as well. And so there were a couple different messages from this spirit baby. One is, I knew you were with me when I was in the hospital, and I see you guys gathered around her like little cradle thing. And she was saying like, I wasn't scared. I felt you and dad with me in the hospital and I wasn't scared. I felt like you guys gave me the love that I really came here to experience. And I want to thank you for that. She also gave me this message of, I will come back to you. And I got chills when I felt that, because I really feel like this spirit baby is determined. And I feel like now she's obviously back in the spirit world. And I feel like there's going to be a way that she finds her way back to you. And again, I feel like this is for a couple different people. So for some of you, it might actually be like your baby again. And for others, it might be a best friend gets pregnant, or some way that this baby will also be close to your sphere, your inner circle. The other message that this spirit baby had, this baby girl in spirit rather, was after really difficult endings, new beginnings and new life will come. And I feel like she's coming and giving this sense of like such hope and positivity. And I feel like there's something about how strong her family has been. And the message for the collective here is, I know it hasn't been easy. I know we've gone through such difficult times, but I'm proof that there is a rainbow on the other side of it, that good things are coming, that it's okay to hope, it's okay to believe. There's just this ray of, after difficulty, after endings, this ray of hope, this real rainbow I see with her that really says it's going to be okay. New life is coming and you can't lose what's meant for you. I'm coming back. I will come back to you. So I feel like the collective message here, especially in conjunction with everything coming through from the energetic read and the angel read, which is like a little bit heavier and denser and more overwhelming, I feel like the message from her to the collective is, let it all go, let it die away. Don't try to make something that isn't working work. New life will come through. And she's showing me like seeds being rained on and like a field bursting up with wildflowers. And during the rain, it's difficult and it's emotional and it's tense. And we wonder if the rain will ever end, but the flowers are coming. And so this beautiful girl feels so filled of hope. I do feel like there's something here about a new generation of consciousness, a new generation that's coming in, that's ready to birth a new world, that's ready to be in such a vibration of healing the world and moving us forward on a collective scale from outdated power structures. So I really love this dose of just pure magic and hope from this beautiful baby girl in spirit. And at the end of the day, death and rebirth go together. And I know it's really easy to hold on so much because it's so scary to change. And I fully get that. But it seems like a lot of the messages right now are just feeling your feelings, feeling through the dark, and trusting that whatever you're navigating, it's giving an opportunity for something new to come through that will be even better. So I really hope this sitting with spirit found who it needed to. If you might know somebody who could benefit from the messages, please share the pod with them. Please make sure to screenshot your 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and send them to contact@magichourpod.com. Thank you so much for being here, my loves. Have a beautiful, beautiful week.